one.
With the patch on one eye, he's out there working the middle of the field like a rhinestone pirate. He's out there playing linebacker in a Todd Bowles 2-6 defense like a rhinestone pirate.
All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the InstantCast. Hey, you found it there, Ren?
There's sound.
There's sound. There's amazing. Our setup's a little bit different this time.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Wacky. It's a lot easier, too, by the way.
Do what?
It's a lot easier.
It is. I have a lot less control over it, which makes me nervous, but it is still here and it's up here. So hello to everybody who is joining us. I think you guys are on YouTube. I'm pretty sure some of you might be on Facebook. Is it YouTube, Ren? We tried this, and a couple weeks ago we tried something to go live, and the processes that we have that do that crapped out on us because updates and different things like that, and new programs don't want to interact with old programs. We thought we had it fixed, and they're still pushing out new updates and things like that. And whatever. So
yeah.
Walk. Right. But, actually, it's kind of fun looking at the chat room. Apparently, several of the people in the chat room know exactly what I'm talking about for how everything's worked. So anyway, hello to all of you guys who are joining us. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming in. This is the InstantCast presented by the Pewtercast. This is our call-in show. And Ren, buddy, long time no see.
Yeah. It's been... Geez, I don't know. What time did the game end? 4?
4? Yeah.
But we split up kind of early. We got split up in the chaos.
We did
when someone pulled the fire alarm. That's not true. But yeah, you just got back to Jacksonville, like
5, maybe 10 minutes before the show was supposed to go live a few minutes ago. So. Kind of walked in and that's always when these issues happen. It seems like is when you don't have time to come up and get everything set and get it prepped and make sure everything's in its place and send out the proper tweets or the Facebook post and say hi to everybody and get a cup of coffee. No. You just got to go and sit down and do it. And that's when everything goes kablooey.
It's my coffee.
There you go. Hey, that's your Cut Perryman cup there. How's that working out for you there, buddy?
I still don't understand it.
Yeah.
The reporters are too chicken crap to ask about it.
I don't think anybody understands that one right now. Let's see here. Let's send out a quick little tweet, and we're back. Join us now for the InstantCast. Apologize for it. This is great television.
Riveting video and audio.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's why we're a top-notch podcast, Brent.
Yeah. Right.
But nothing but else, dead air at the top. Oh Lord, here we go.
But this is what makes us a top-notch podcast is because we got people already calling in. Don't even know what's going on. Who do we have here tonight talking to us on the InstantCast, kicking us off here? Hello. I hear fuzzing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Steve from DC.
Hey, Steve from DC. What's up, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Can you hear us?
Steve from DC.
Yeah. We got you. What's up, Steve?
It's bad. It's kind of bad connection. I can't hardly hear.
And he drops the call. So I don't know what's going on. Hey, listen, you guys know the drill. Phone line's open. Y'all want to call in? We got a Bucs game to talk about, Red. 864-729-2827. Y'all go ahead and call in. Steve from DC, try to call us back, buddy. You should be able to hear us. The phone line is not connected to the rest of this stuff, so there shouldn't be hearing some fuzz there on your end. Ren?
Yo.
Buccaneers win 30-27.
Mm-hmm.
Good, solid win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see who we have here. You're on the line with Brent and Ren for the InstantCast. Who do we have here tonight?
Kyle from Ohio.
Hey, Kyle from Ohio.
What's up, man?
What's up?
You called us. Talk to us,
I
buddy.
just had a couple thoughts from the game today.
Yeah, man, go for it.
The first one is I kind of like what we're doing with the running backs here. Kind of reminds me of like how you could, if we in a perfect world, we could have used Doug Martin as just like a when he was on the team as like a 3-4 down back, especially in the red zone to power through, which is kind of what I see with like Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber today. They kind of use Ronald Jones for most of the bulk work, and when they really needed him at the end, they threw Peyton Barber in there to push through.
Yeah, they did. Agreed. Brent's back. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's not, no one went for a lot of yardage today. I think, it was like 60 yards and 40 yards and then tack on Jameis's yardage. I thought they ran the ball well in the first quarter and like the early first quarter and the late fourth, which is sort of when it matters. Jameis got us out of some tough scrapes there with his legs. But I thought the game plan was good, where they obviously had some sort of idea about doing the screen game to beat this team on the outside, because they threw it to, Perryman a few times on screen games, which is basically an extension of the running game. Same thing with Godwin. They threw the ball to Rojo, like 4 or 5 times on screens. So yeah, I like the way they use the running backs today. I would have liked to seen, sort of more production, the middle, 2/3 of the game. But yeah, I got no complaints.
And then the only other thing I could think of was I was really glad to see OJ back and scoring touchdowns and making a presence, because I really think he's a vital part of this offense.
Well, we'd like to think so.
Yeah. It was good for what we saw of him, but I didn't feel like we really got the full OJ experience, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, we got the touchdown. That was great. There was a catch here and a catch here, but I still don't feel like he was really fully being utilized in the offensive attack, if that makes sense at all. But that being said, I mean, we still had close to 400 yards of passing and, whatever else we had throughout the course of the game. So, it's hard to complain, I think, about
and I
that,
think that's fair, because I don't remember. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and to what you just said, we probably didn't see him at full capacity, especially because I don't remember if it was Chris Spielman or the other guy commentating. We're like, they said OJ Howard does play on this team.
Right.
Is the exact comment I believe they made.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so. I don't know how much is OJ coming off the hamstring injury. He was out for a couple of weeks with the hamstring injury. So I don't know if they weren't, going full bore with him just yet because of that, or if it was maybe something else. I'm not really sure. So
all right, well, I'll clear the lines and let somebody else come on. Those are just kind of two things I wanted to touch on. I
love it, Kyle, man. Thanks so much for calling, and we'll talk to you on a future week. All right, buddy.
All right, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Yeah, man. Yeah, it all let out, man. That's great. Hey guys, listen, that's how you do it. You guys got thoughts on the game? Go ahead and call in 864-729-BUCS. That's 864-729-2827. You call in, interrupt us. Whatever we're talking about, just interrupt us. We'll talk about what you want to talk about for a few minutes. And definitely hello to everybody in the chat room over there. You guys are tearing it up. It's good to see that still alive and well, that hasn't been hampered by the technical difficulties today, Ren. And we got another phone call. I think this might be our guy Steve calling us back. Let's see if we see that's who that is. Hello, you are on the line with Brent and Ren for the InstantCast. Who do we have here tonight?
Hey guys, Steve back.
Hey Steve.
DC.
Yeah, Steve. Thanks for calling us back. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys better now.
Great, man. What's on your mind for tonight, buddy?
We got a win.
We did get a win. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
I was not thinking we was going to get one, but we got one. I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want to say that they seemed intent on giving away a game. I don't think that was the case today. But Ren, I remember there was one point I looked over at you and I said, like, we handed the ball back to the defense and I said, we're not really expecting the defense to stop them here, are we? Like, to not go down the score and not score points, right?
But they did, and they got a turnover the next play.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was like made me eat my words
Yeah.
right then. That's right. Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. I mean, I'm kind of following the chat, and I think this is sort of what you're getting at. It's a win. You know what this game reminds me of? The Cardinals are us. Turn the ball over twice inside the red zone, get turnovers, but then while you're going down to try to capitalize on the turnovers, turn the ball over twice. Untimely mistakes. They shot themselves in the foot. So 2 turnovers in the red zone, and don't forget the tight end dropped a touchdown pass on 4th down where he was all by himself. It's just like if you're
I think the sun was in his eyes. No excuse for an NFL player though, but
right.
Yeah, but
that's what I saw.
Yeah, but he's wide open. So if you're a Cardinals fan, I feel like talking about this with other Cardinals fans, it would be just like we sound week in and week out. We should have won that game. We gave that game away. If it wasn't for the turnovers in the red zone, oh my God, like it was a touchdown off the board because I didn't catch balls on 4th down. So this is kind of how I feel where the Bucs are, and I've said this a lot, and I think this is really true. Like, there's like 5 teams that are good in the NFL. Like, they're going to win like 10 games, and you can pick them out. There's 5 teams in the NFL that aren't very good, that are going to win like 5 games
I agree.
total. The rest, that's another 22 teams. The rest are all 8-8. And then you make the plays like today, like the Bucs did, or hurt yourself like today, like the Cardinals did, and that makes you 9-7. And then if you have a game where it flip flops, now you're back to 8-8. So this is where the Bucs are right now, and they're trying to eliminate those mistakes to get these wins to be like a 10-6 team. Like, they're not. We start the season, we're going 11-5, and that's going to be a bad. Like if we go 11-5, that's what I expect. We go 10-6, it's disappointment. We're in that group of 22 teams, as are the Cardinals. And it was. We did enough to win, but the Cardinals definitely helped us out. Like, that's what bad teams do. And the Cardinals have like 3-4 wins. We have 3-4 wins, and that's just how it went.
Yeah. What do you guys think about MJ Stewart performance today?
Didn't he get taken? He got injured or something. He got taken out. What was it? We put MJ Stewart on Larry Fitzgerald at one point, and I looked over.
I saw him on there a couple times.
Yeah, and I just went, that's not good.
Yeah. This is something I want to learn sort of in Monday's press conference, when sort of the dust settles and everyone has to look at it. Like, MJ Stewart started the game in nickel. Vernon started on the outside, and SMB started on the other side. And it was like, oh, well, there's so much for Jamal Dean. I guess, he, it's, hey, he's going to play great and he's going to be a great player, and, put him in a tough spot. And it's like, well, I guess, they decided not to sort of risk his ego, or maybe that was all talk. But MJ Stewart is what MJ Stewart is. Like, MJ Stewart's not going to be on this team next year. He can't cover. He's too slow. He's too unathletic. He's not a very good slot corner, and he can't play outside corner, and he can't play safety. He's not going to be on the team. That's why he's been inactive the past 2 weeks. The only reason he was active this week is because Carlton Davis is down. As soon as Carlton Davis comes back,
exactly.
MJ Stewart's going right back to the inactive list. He's not going to be on the team next year.
So, Ren, can I ask you this one question?
Of course.
Going forward,
I'm
already thinking about next year. Who's going to be the secondary, starting secondary players that you think is going to be there, and players you think is not going to be there?
Okay.
for next year?
I think Stewart's gone. I think Vernon's gone. I think we hang on to Davis, SMB, and Dean.
Mhm.
I think Ryan Smith probably comes back because he realizes that he can't play cornerback in the NFL, and the Bucs are one of the few teams that are going to pay him money just to cover kicks. So I think he'll stay, but he's not in the plans as far as going forward. Uh, and then now you have to ask yourself, are the Bucs going to draft a guy, or are they going to go out and try to find like a starter, outside starting
I hope
corner?
I hope they don't draft a guy.
I don't think they can. I
I
mean,
hope they don't draft a guy.
yeah, I don't think they can. I think the most
Mm.
likely situation is that they get a guy in free agency.
Free
Uh,
agent.
yeah, a veteran guy who's hoping that they're planning on starting, and we'll go into training camp with 3 positions available, and it'll be Davis, Dean, SMB, and this veteran that we signed in the offseason. And, I guess it's only a 3-man race because I think out of those guys, SMB might be the only guy that can play slot. So, those will be the 4 guys. I don't know really who's going to start. I would say nickel. Nickel right now, I think it's going to be Dean, SMB at nickel, and then somebody who's not on the team will probably start on the other outside.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So who you guys looking for? Patrick Peterson or
I
heard
haven't
him
got
No
as a
idea.
name at one point
Yeah.
in time.
I haven't gotten there, man. Like, free agency's not till March.
Right.
I've got plenty of time. I'm not there yet. I just kind of want to bathe in this glorious, glorious win and sort of, be happy that
I'll take that.
yeah. I just want to be happy that, Cardinals fans, I know how you feel, and suck it because I know how you feel.
Yeah, and the other thing too about Patrick Peterson, there was I think twice in today's game, like he stayed sitting on the ground after a play or something like that.
I
Or
saw that.
he was injured, and I know a lot of us would like to get Patrick Peterson. There's obviously the BA connection there, and he's been a great cornerback in the league, and you can't take anything away from him as far as that goes. But he is not young, and I think we saw it with not Vernon Hargett, with Brent Grimes. I've heard this about the cornerback position. Like you can play, and then all of a sudden you fall off a cliff. Like it's not that position doesn't typically be like a slow decline. Like it's just you're good, and then all of a sudden you're not. So I need to see the rest of the season to see what Patrick Peterson's doing before I start calling that particular name. But I agree with Ren.
I agree with you guys.
Yeah. I agree with Ren. I do think that we probably look more for veteran help back there than we do looking to something draft, unless somebody crazy falls to us, So, but yeah. All right, Steve.
I mean, I just think we need that in the presence.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Guide these young guys that we got.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit on one
of
of our shows earlier this week, the Buck in the News or Final Thoughts or something like that. Yeah, I agree with you. I very much so agree with you. So
now I will say before we let you go here, of the guys that BA and Todd Bowles have drafted, and let's face it, they're the guys that drafted SMB, Dean, and Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the most progression we've seen. Like they have the most promise. MJ Stewart's toast. We've seen Ryan Smith long enough. He's not going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon Hargreaves, we've seen long enough.
I agree with that.
He ain't going to be on the team. So basically, you got Carlton Davis. And I think Carlton Davis is really close to kind of the player that he was when he came in. He's a little bit better. But the jump that we've seen from Sean Murphy Bunting from week 1 to now is huge.
Yeah.
And the jump we've seen from Dean from last week to this week, like you could see, I mean, he had like 4 or 5 pass breakups in Seattle. They threw at him a lot, but Vernon has like 4 pass breakups in 4 years. So you can see the talent. He had like another 3 or 4 today. So, he learned from his mistakes. He came up with a big interception. He didn't get nearly toasted as much as he did in Seattle. So you see that jump where they've learned. So as far as, the cornerback position, it's the first time,
We
since they've drafted Vernon, that there's two guys that you can look at and really actually say, hey, I feel good about the future there. Like the way they're trending is good. Vernon never trended up. He'd have a game, and then he'd just be back to Vernon. Like, and MJ Stewart never trended up. Carlton Davis has been pretty
you
much
got
have been pretty much
you
steady
guys always
straight line.
say if you're not calling the name, the person standing out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They really ain't gonna really call Hargrave's name too much tonight.
Well,
But,
I'll
we
tell you
played a
what they
bad
did.
team.
Yeah, I'll tell you when
And
they did
Kyler
call his
Murray
name.
is very inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
Very. So I mean, it's really not much to brag on as far as the secondary play, as far as Carlson. Well, Carlson ain't played, but Dean he played okay. He had interceptions, but it's really not too much to brag on because
Mm-hmm.
he played a inaccurate quarterback
Right.
tonight.
I don't know. I think Kyler Murray's accurate for a rookie. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get in a back and forth with you about it. You think he's not. I'm gonna say that's a little too harsh. But listen, he made the interception in the red zone. The Cardinals were going in to, go up by, sort of put the game out of reach there. They would have been up by 2 scores, and the game would have been over. With around 3-4 minutes to play, but he made the interception. So, I think Dean, from what we saw in Seattle to what we saw in this game, I think he had a great game. I think it's night and day. And if I was a Bucs fan or a Dean fan or whatever, like I would be excited about what I saw out of him today. Okay.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I can hear you.
Can you? Oh, there we go. I lost audio. I lost all audio, and my screen blinked out on me for just a second there.
It did.
Yeah. So sorry for that. I think we have also lost Steve from DC. So sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what happened. This is a whole new, like we mentioned at the top of the show. There's just been issues tonight. So sorry, but you guys there. No, Brent was not speechless. Sorry, Craig, over in the chat room. I missed the last thing that I heard, Ren, if you could kind of catch me up. Gosh, I don't even know what I heard because I was so freaking out there for about 20 seconds.
I just gave him a little pushback. Like, I don't think Kyler Murray is inaccurate as he was saying. And I wasn't saying, look, I want to get no back and forth with this. I just think I think calling him inaccurate is a stretch, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's his own opinion. But and I just reiterated that what you saw from Dean today, I think would be, room to celebrate, or,
Mm-hmm.
a vast improvement, and something like, if you start picking out people like who to yell at for this game,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was a win, I don't put Jamal Dean on my list.
No, no. And there are lots of people that I found real funny. I got into it with a couple of people today on social media during the game.
I saw that. I saw
And
that.
it just, I mean, my God. Some people were trying to blame BA on this. This is while the game's still going on. People still trying to blame Jameis, and I've got words about all that I want to say. But first, provided everything stays up and running, let's find out who we have on the phone line with us right now. You're on with Brent and Ren for the InstantCast. Who do we have here tonight?
Hey, gentlemen, the chef has returned.
Chef, what's up, buddy?
Not too much. How are you guys?
Better. We had a win today, so that's fun. And we're all here talking.
That was good.
Chef, I have to admit to you, when I got to the game, I was not really enthused, to be honest. Brent, like, at kickoff, looks over at me and he goes, you pumped up? You pumped up? And I'm like, I'm not. Like,
no.
I felt. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because I yes, you're right. I mean, finish your story because there's a reason behind that. Go ahead.
I just felt like, I felt like we've talked about like a beaten dog, or, battered wife syndrome, where it's just like, I sat down and I knew that Kyler Murray was going to go off, and I knew the defense wasn't going to be able to stop him, and I knew Jameis was going to have some turnovers, and I knew we were going to somehow lose this game, even though we should have won.
Right.
And it started off Jameis's like second throw of the game pick, like right in front of us. And I look at Brent. Brent looks at me and like totally stone faced. We just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And Red, here's why I did that was because I felt the exact same way. And listen, I don't know how you guys out there felt. Chef, I'm going to ask you this here in just a second, but like I pulled into the parking lot of Raymond James Stadium and I'm like really close to the stadium and I turn off the car and I'm just sitting there staring up and I just went, I'm not excited. Like I'm not excited. Like just being truthful in my fandom. Like and I've always promised you guys out there. Listen, I'll tell you where I'm feeling. I'll tell you where I'm at in my fandom for that day. And the cool thing about being a fan is our attitudes can change from day to day, right? Like I just wasn't excited. And you know what? You get there wasn't a lot of people at the stadium today. There just wasn't. I mean, traffic was not an issue around the stadium, even right after the game. It just wasn't. And there wasn't a ton of Cardinals fans there either, which cool. Even though they had the same color, there really wasn't a lot of them out there. But and so like we get there and Ren, like you and I just kind of sat there and we're just in the stadium, like, and the game started. And I when I said that to you, when I was like, "Are you excited? Get up for the game!" It was kind of mocking a little bit, like where we were. So, Chef, I know sometimes you get to watch the game, sometimes you didn't. Did you actually get to watch the game going in?
Yeah, I have the ticket back, so I get to watch the game at home along with the broadcast.
How were you going into today's game? Like, were you excited to see Buccaneers football, or like, where were you? I'm just curious.
Well, based off of my email that I sent off in for the podcast, I'm just basically mentally beaten down and broken with this team. It's like,
okay,
we've been, has been like 5 or more years. Our season always ends around this time, and obviously we get the win today, but in reality, we're not challenging for the playoffs. We'd have to have like a miracle run and then a prayer to even hope for any type of like playoffs in a loaded NFC. So I think any realistic fan out there knows that the season is basically done, and we have to once again wait for next year. But on the positives, I am very happy for the fans that got to witness a win, because God knows we don't get to witness wins at Raymond James Stadium. Like it's become a rare occurrence, which is sad and why it's called a den of depression. But anyways, I've become to the point where I'm so numb by this team with the losing. It's like you can't get mad at it anymore. It's like if we win, fantastic.
Right.
If we lose, same old Bucs.
Right.
It's just like until this team learns to win consistently, then we can finally get off the beaten path, so to speak, and actually get excited for Buccaneers football. Because the worst thing about this team right now is we get so hyped up during the off season with either free agency or new coaching staff like this year, only for it to all come off the tracks come October, because we're either 2-5, 2-6, or 1-4. That's basically the mentality of this fan base right now, and the organization has only themselves to blame, because they constantly put the wrong people in positions to run this team, and it constantly drafted like the wrong players to develop. Because as we see, we have MJ Stewart out there who does not look like an NFL caliber defensive player, and he was the 53rd overall pick in last year's draft. And now we have VH3, who was the 11th overall pick, and he looks like he doesn't even belong on an NFL field either, and gets benched because the coach says he lacked effort. If a fifth-year player is lacking effort and is basically blah about it, that speaks on like the reason for the ineptitude of that defense. And Light actually thought that VH3 was going to be the quote-unquote mentor of that secondary. That's another reason why that I kind of just am done with Light, and I want him to just obviously, I know he's not going to go anywhere with BA being here and all that stuff, because BA wants him here and all that stuff, but it's like it just feels like it's always Bucs being Bucs when it comes to this team. But I will say, I don't know if you guys have watched that Buccaneers video or that video's on Buccaneers.com with JPP and Levante David, the post-game locker room speech. That is the kind of leader that has been missing from that locker room since Brooks and Warren Sapp. We haven't seen anything of that, and that's why everybody, like all the people that rag on John McCoy, that's what they were ragging about the most. He literally accepted losing. JPP is on the sidelines, like laying his foot into players' asses who are just going through the motions, it seems like, on the field. And he's so passionate about winning that it's like that. I seriously hope this team signs or re-signs JPP for next year, because this team needs that veteran leadership in order to progress this defense and to become better as a whole.
What do you, Chef? Let me ask you this, and actually, Ren, I'll throw this out to you as well, and anybody in the chat room who wants to chime in. What's it going to take to get JPP to come back? And that's the question. But here's why I ask: because when they redid his deal,
money.
Is it just money?
Are you kidding?
No. Well, because
money has a lot to do with it, I would say. But I mean,
It has everything to do
I
with just
believe
money.
he was born and raised and like went to college in Florida, so I think that would probably help out a little bit.
Hey, well, the only reason I ask is because the Bucs had him for next year, and the deal we made with him this year was we would pay him less money if we would let him out of his contract a year early, so that he could go. And I mean, Ren, it really might just be something as simple as money, but I don't know what that says about him wanting to be in Tampa or just not wanting to commit to Tampa. Like, I don't know how to read that. Like, he accepted less money this year to get out of his contract a year early when he would have had I think 13 for next year or something like that.
I think JPP understands. Well, I hope he does, but that he's coming off of a neck injury that's supposed to be debilitating to especially a pass rusher.
Sure.
But he's showing that he's practically indestructible at this point when it comes to blowing off his hand and then breaking his neck. They still can come out there and just create unbelievable havoc. And now that I just think that he understands that he needed to prove himself to the contract first in order to get back that money if they want to re-sign him for next year. Which, if this team has any vision of advancing this team at all, in my opinion, JPP is the heartbeat of that defense right now, and they desperately need to keep him. I understand Shaq has been dominant this year, but you can see that when Shaq is double teamed and doesn't have other people around him to make others better or to create little holes, Shaq Barrett, he gets bottled up and he doesn't perform like the Shaq Barrett we saw during that stretch of time. And JPP, ever since he came back, he's made everybody around him better. Hell, you could even say that he's helped even make Ndamukong Suh more even better than what and a lot of people will say that Suh is overpriced or is just average on stuff. Anybody knows that Ndamukong Suh didn't come here to be a pass rusher. He's here to be a run stopper, which is what he's been his whole entire career. He gets his sacks based off of raw power. And even Vea and Golston have even said how instrumental Suh has been in their development, because Golston, he looked like he shouldn't have even been on the roster during training camp. Once Suh comes in, Golston even literally says, like on a video where Suh is mic'd up, that Golston loved his mentality, he loved his energy, and you could see it feeding off into Golston that he's having a resurgent year. Now, I don't know if I would bring him back next year, but it's the key pieces like Levante David, JPP, and Ndamukong Suh, who I don't think he'll be back next year, but are the reasons why this team isn't crumbling under the sure, the secondary sucks right now, but the pass rush as a whole, I think, has been better this year than it ever was in the last 2 years. And that credits Ndamukong Suh, JPP, and obviously Levante David And Levante David is even making Devin White, our first-round pick, just come out of his shell and come into his own. Like it's the leadership in those three guys that have started to like get this defense finally on the right track after seeing the abysmal of Lovie Smith and Mike Smith, and it's just those three players alone just give you the sense that this defense will head in the right direction. It's just the secondary is sorely lacking that same leadership.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And real quick, if somebody in the chat room could poke her in for me, I'd appreciate it. No, Chef, man, I'm with you. I love what's happening there on the defensive line between Sue, between JPP, with Shaq. And you talk about JPP, and you said something that took me back to what we used to talk about with Gerald. People would say, "Oh, well, look, Gerald doesn't have anybody around him. He doesn't have any help. He's unable to get what and do and perform the way he needs to be done performing because nobody's around to help him." You just said JPP comes in and he makes everybody around him better. Sue comes in and other people around him get better. And I'm not here to bag on Gerald McCoy. I'm here to sing the praises. I'm here to sing the praises of the people we have now, of just seeing because Ren, I mean, we saw Sue reach out and grab, was it Murray or Johnson or somebody?
Yeah.
And I mean, he horse tackled that guy. I mean, it was, and he just reached out and grabbed him. And I looked at Ren at the game. He was sitting next to me. I went, Gerald would have never done that. And it probably couldn't because he has the pectoral. Okay, fine, whatever. But still, that's just where it is.
It's
good players, good leaders.
McCoy when you're telling the truth.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to talk about McCoy, but our guys, listen, they good. The leaders come in and they make people around them better. We've got to find a way to re-sign them all. We can't completely flip over our defensive line next year, but we've got a lot of people on this team that need to be re-signed. There's a lot of people that need to be re-signed. So, Chef, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. We're going to let somebody else call in for tonight. All right, buddy?
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, thanks so much.
See you, Chef.
All right.
Chef was talkative tonight.
He was on it, man. He was on it.
Chef usually isn't like the most talkative guy sometimes.
No, he's not. And that's the thing. Listen, and here's the thing. He was making and I'm not saying that Chef doesn't normally do this. I'm just saying sometimes other people. He was making good, logical, coherent thoughts. So I wanted to,
he was making some good points. He was on his A game. He was on his A game.
I didn't want to cut him off. So let's see who we have here. You're on the line with Brent and Ren. People waiting for Chef to stop talking so that they could call in. Who is this one?
Hey, this is Robbie from Gulf Breeze, Florida.
Robbie from Gulf Breeze, Florida. What's going on, Robbie?
Oh, nothing much. Just enjoying the wind.
There you go.
Just had a few observations and noticed an uptick in the short passes and screen passes, which was kind of welcome since Arizona's D-line was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And noticed a lot of activity from the not Mike Evans and not Chris Godwin, even though they had pretty good days too, as far as I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was pretty evident that, and I talked about it early in the show, that the Bucs, were going to rely heavily on getting the ball down the field through the screen game, either be the wide receivers or the running backs, mostly Ronald Jones. And, you just knew it was one of those games where Patrick Peterson was falling around Mike Evans. And we have seen with this offense and what they have taught Jameis is, if Mike is covered, throw it to somebody else. Like, just do it. And that's what he does. But also what we've seen is if there is and I'm not really sure I agree with this, but if there's a cornerback that sort of has any type of reputation as being an actual CB1, not a shutdown corner, but somebody who is a clear-cut CB1, everybody knows in the league that guy's their best corner, and he follows Mike around, they also don't throw to him. Now, what was good for today was, hey, O.J. Howard decided to catch the ball this week. Scotty Miller decided to catch the ball this week. And Perryman was kind of like Perryman, I think it was like 6 targets, 3 catches, blah, blah, blah. So, and Godwin was Godwin. But, there wasn't a lot of targets to Mike. And we're seeing that if teams play zone and don't play a lot of man-to-man, or if they play man-to-man and they have like I said, a hint of a guy that's supposed to be like a CB1, they also don't throw to Mike. So it was something they've done sort of, in the weeks where they haven't fed Mike a lot, but the other guys stepped up enough where it didn't make this huge difference in the passing game. Like the passing game was still effective because, Howard got stepped up and Perryman got some screen passes, and then especially Rojo in the screen passing game.
Oh yeah, it was definitely fun to watch. I do want to point out that that one could have been a touchdown. I think it was Miller in the end zone where it came over the defender's head. And man, if he would have caught that, dude, that would have been definitely a highlight, ESPN highlight for the Sports Center. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thank you. I've been listening to you guys for 3 seasons now.
All right.
And,
Thank you,
keep
Robbie.
doing what you're doing. And y'all have a good one.
We'll do it, Robbie, man. Make sure you call us back on a future show. All right, buddy? We love getting to hear from you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later, man. All right. Phone line's open. You guys want to call in 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827. Ren, you look like you're getting ready to say something there, bud.
Don't throw a 50-50 ball to Scotty Miller.
Fair enough. I agree.
Like, he does not fight for the ball.
Right. Yeah, you throw a 50-50 ball to Mike Evans, sure.
And Godwin.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah, I get that. Hey, listen, let's check and see who we have on the line here. Whoever you are, do me a favor, turn us down in the background.
Turn me down.
We get the echo. Yeah, turn us down in the background and let us know who you are.
Hey, this is Tyler from LA.
Cool.
Hey, Tyler.
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good. Actually glad to finally see a win from this team.
Yeah, right? We all are, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
What's on your mind tonight, Tyler?
So anyways, I wanted to talk about my first thing I wanted to bring up was the O-line, the way they were blocking with the run today.
Mm-hmm.
It looked a little worse than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're out there in LA, so I don't know how much you watch Arizona, Ren. I don't know how much you know about Arizona. Is their defensive line typically as good as what we saw today? Because
doesn't matter. Too many negative running plays.
Fair enough.
There just was. Like I talked about earlier, it looks like we started okay, and then in the fourth quarter, when we sort of needed that drive at the end, Ronald Jones came alive a little bit again. But in between, we were running ball just to keep them honest. We weren't running the ball as sort of like a weapon. It was not a lot of positive yards in the rushing game in between like minute 10 after the first quarter to like minute 5 to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was pretty, because I didn't think that Arizona was that tough of a run-stopping team. I actually expected Rojo to put up better numbers today, but he was getting hit before he could even get his feet moving.
Mm-hmm. And I've also noticed lately that he feels like he can outrun everybody, so he's starting to give ground a lot. Like he'll make a jump cut, and then he'll start to give ground because he thinks he can, sort of outspeed these guys, and it's not working out. So it's just something I'm keeping an eye on. I'm not mad at Rojo. I'm not saying, he's regressing or he's a terrible back. I'm just saying that at times you just got to sort of say, hey, I'm not going to score here. Put your head down and get those and fall forward and get that 2.5, 3 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like earlier in the season, I was seeing him actually do that, where he would make one cut and get upfield, and he was doing much better that way. But it seems like he's kind of regressed as far as the one cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I wanted to bring up the defense. It's like it's miserable. How can your front seven be so good, and then the pass defense just constantly lets you down. Like, you know that
Yeah.
an average to decent player from another team is going to go off every single week.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Noting Bruce Arians in his press conference after the game, he used this phrase probably a half a dozen times. He said, "A work in progress." It's a work in progress. I thought the secondary performed better, especially Jamel Dean, but overall he performed better than what we saw last week. Sean Murphy Bunting, and I mean, he's taken his lumps on this podcast, but he's really come alive in the last couple of games. Jordan Whitehead, we've always sung his praises. Mike Edwards is still MIA. He's like, you just don't see him out there anywhere. Vernon Hargraves, look, the guy got benched because he couldn't run across the freaking yard and he wasn't even trying to. And the only reason he got back in was because MJ Stewart got hurt. Right. Yep. So when Ren sits here and says Vernon's gone, yeah, unless something changes in Vernon, and I got to tell you, I saw his after the game press conference. I don't think anything's changing with this kid. He ain't gonna be a Buck, and BA ain't gonna have it. They sat his ass, and this is the accountability thing working that we're seeing, which is great. I was questioning that a couple of games ago. I liked seeing that today, but Vernon's out. MJ Stewart is probably just going to get outplayed, or at least hopefully he is, as long as they get somebody to replace him. And so the secondary is young. The secondary is coming along. They are making advancements. However, it's still troublesome. Like right now, it's still troublesome. What's this going to look like by the end of the year? That's what I'm really most interested to see. Give them really this whole time to see what happens and see where they go, and then even see what changes we make in the offseason and where they go next year. I don't
look. It's frustrating, and we've talked about it. I've talked about it since the Rams game. Secondary. But after this game, and even though it's the Cardinals and it's a rookie quarterback, hey, we beat a rookie quarterback. Hey, there's a merit badge. This is the first time seeing young guys that I thought played well and was excited about their future. Since the secondary has been so bad for so many years, we can go back and chronicle, but we've talked about it. But this game, I felt really good about the way SMB played. Not a perfect game. I felt really good about the way Dean played. And to be honest, I'm excited to see what a Carlton Davis, SMB, Jamal Dean nickel package looks like. Mm-hmm. And I want to see that. I want to see that going forward. And I'm excited about it. Like, as Buck fans, we have given Vernon every opportunity. Like, we've given him every excuse. We've given him all the rope he needs, and he just can't play corner. He can't.
Nope.
He can't. Well, he can't play for us. So, I'm done with him. Like, he can't do it. MJ Stewart does not belong on a professional football field. Is he one of the top 2% cornerbacks in the whole entire world that has 8 billion people? Yes, he is. But he's not in the top, 60%, 30%, however you want to do it, of cornerbacks in the NFL. And that's what you got to beat. So Stewart's gone. Hargraves is gone. I'm very excited about SMB. I'm really excited about Dean. And I want to see what these guys can do with Davis, because I like Davis. I think he's getting railroaded by the refs. And I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose. I just think that Dean does stuff that other cornerbacks do that he gets called for and they don't. Mm-hmm. Just because you put a hand on somebody, like some cornerbacks get away with hand fighting, that's just the way they play. It's like Davis tries to do that, but he doesn't have the reputation yet, so they keep calling him for him. And even though he's never had an interception, but that Tennessee game, he had a batted down pass. Then he picked the ball off. That was 3 plays in a row. Batted the ball down, picked the ball off, picked the ball off. And I don't think either of those 2 pass interference calls were egregious. They could have been non-calls, in my opinion. Technically, yes, he touched the guy, but I thought it was hand fighting back and forth. So I know the secondary, and I've banged on them, and you're banging on them, and Twitter bangs on them, and all the other pods bang on them because they deserve it. But what I saw today, I want to see those 3 guys line up next week against Drew Brees and see what happens.
A work in progress. That's what you saw today.
So do I.
Yeah.
I really like, especially with these two Auburn corners. I like the physicality and the size because especially like with Vernon, even when he is kind of in the right position, it seems like he's just like literally 2 inches too short. Like if he had been 6 foot or 5'11", he'd make the play.
Right.
So the size is a big factor. And one more question is, I think people don't like him or they're forgetting about him, but I wanted to bring up Justin Evans. What's up with him? And do you think he would be able to make a difference if he was on the field?
He's on IR. He won't be back this year. And to be honest, he's sort of getting into Kendall Beckwith territory for me because it was an injury and it was like, oh, he's injured. He may be back this season. And then okay, he's not back. And then, oh, he'll be back for OTAs and he wasn't. Oh, he'll be back for training camp and then he wasn't. And well, we'll put him on, that whatever super secret IR thing where he can come back somewhere between this window where JPP came back and no one's talking about him. So, it was sort of like a toe ankle thing and then it became a knee thing or a heel on the other foot. I think that the secondary would, or at least the safeties, I would like to see a Whitehead Evans for a couple of games and watch them sort of get together and mature. I think he would work really well in this Todd Bowles defense because they play a lot of single high, safety, and that's the guy that has to play center field sideline to sideline. And of the guys that the Bucs have, I think Justin Evans does that the best.
Yeah, that's exactly what I envisioned when the season was like right before the season, when, like you said, when they kept saying like, "Who he's going to be back next week," and then they just kept putting it off. I kept envisioning a safety duo with Jordan Whitehead playing closer to the box because he's undersized, but he's better in the run defense than he is in the pass. Like he's
excellent run stuffer.
He's
Excellent.
close to the line, and Justin Evans can roam single high in the background.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But,
I sat there and had those visions in my head sitting in the stands watching training camp practice after training camp practice going, I just can't wait. Well,
still waiting. Right. So, all right, Tyler, man. Well, thank you so much for your call. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. We're going to let some other people call in tonight. All right.
All right. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks so much, Tyler. Call us back soon on another Instant Cast. We're back here every week. Guys, phone line's open if you want to call in. 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827. Justin Evans kind of went through this weird thing, turf toe, which, Craig in Vegas, who's in our chat room, said turf toes in people's career. Ren, I remember you telling me that. And unfortunately now Carl Nassib, I believe he is out with turf toe. That is his exact injury that they've told us about. So
what? No, I thought it was a hip.
Is
Auclair had turf.
Is it Auclair?
Auclair had
turf toe. Okay. I feel better about it being Auclair than I do Nassib. I feel bad for saying that, but
but Evans was like, it was a foot injury, then it became a toe, and then it was rumored turf toe. They never said turf toe.
Oh, okay.
But then when he was almost back and he was jogging and stuff, but it was his heel is what kept him out all of training camp.
Gotcha.
On the opposite foot.
Right.
But they don't have to really tell us what's going on. So, as a fan, it's a little scary. And it's like, because this is now almost like, it's past a year since he's played, like a full calendar year since he's lined up. So,
Yeah, we'll see. All right. You are on the line with Brent and Ren for the Instant Cast. Who do we have here tonight?
This is the infamous Brian from Memphis.
Brian from Memphis. I was wondering where you were.
What's up, Brian?
Hey, man.
So Jameis Winston, talk to us, buddy.
Oh, I don't have.
What?
Guys, this is a complete, type of call in. I don't have anything to say for Winston. Like, he played a good game. Last week. I had sent the email. I don't know if you guys got to it, but
we did.
I think even last week and this week, even with the interception in the first drive, of course, hey, here we go. But overall, I don't have anything to say about Winston. Me personally, it's not going to get me back on a Winston train or the Winston book you want to call it. Like, I just feel like the consistent inconsistency is the reason why I'm just like I'm not on the Winston bus. Like, hey, I just don't know. Like, I don't trust him,
right.
And the thing about Winston is like he had like, and we all can agree like, hey, he has the highest ceiling. I think if Winston like plays at the level he can play, he is one of the top tier quarterbacks. But he has the highest ceiling, but he also has the lowest floor. Like it's like it's not like a middle ground with him. It's either he's very good, he's very bad. It's not an in between. So but this is not about Winston.
All right.
For a change.
All right, Brian's. Who's this one about?
No, I'm just speaking on the game. Like,
okay.
I'm glad we won. I'm glad we won. So, my guy, like, what I would say into the game, like, I think we did good. It was a good game. Of course, I mean, it was the Cardinals. So, I mean, we would say, hey, hopefully we would be able to win this game. First home game, in a few weeks, probably it seemed like it was forever. But I would say positives for the game. Rojo is really someone I'm glad he got the start. He really did good this game. Like, I love that somehow, some way, Leftwich got it in his head to do short passes, screen passes, and what I like about it is taking away like the long developing plays because it really relies too much on Winston's decision making. And we know that Winston's decision making is not all that great. And if we can get the ball out of his hand in short spurts, it really allows the athletes and the players like Mike Evans or Rojo in particular to get the ball in open space and make plays. So I really like that. He had a very good start in the game. What can I say? VH3, he's gone. It's over with for VH3. I really like the kid coming out of college. And I was telling a lot of people, like, hey, give him the same rope everyone's giving Jameis. Like, hey, he did lose a whole season due to injury, so he is playing a season behind. But, like, oh, man, he has no hustle. Like, he plays, I think when BA says, like, they're playing soft, it was strictly for Vernon. Like, he plays too pretty. Like, get in there.
Brian, here's the thing about Vernon. Yeah, I mean, because you're right. He lost an entire season, and then he lost a half of a season right before that. Start him right now at the beginning of this season at the same level with Sean Murphy-Bunting, and let's even go ahead and throw Jamel Dean in there. And let's throw in who's another rookie this year.
Mike Edwards. Gay.
Okay, maybe not Mike Edwards because he's not.
Gay.
Really, come on, Gay. All right, sure. Look at all
Scotty Miller.
These guys. Even Scotty Miller after his one catch today where he didn't catch it out of bounds. But
Devin
look
White.
at these guys. 8 games in, 9 games in, look at the guys who are getting better and look at the guys who are just staying the same or getting worse. Now, you might forgive, say, a Mike Edwards who seems to – I don't know that Mike Edwards is getting worse. He just seems to be not getting better.
Stagnant.
But he's a rookie. So I can forgive that for a rookie. Vernon doesn't have that luxury. I don't care if he's been injured or not. He doesn't have that luxury. But Vernon is also real steady. Yeah, he had that great stop against Christian McCaffrey where honestly he got lucky. All right, like we all said it, like another half a foot, and that's a whole different thing. He had a pick in the first game against the 49ers, but after that
was against a running back.
Oh, was it?
That was against a running back. They threw it to a running back, I think.
I don't know. But the rest of the season, quarterbacks have looked up and gone, where's 28? Throw it that way. Where's 28? Throw it that way. Vernon's not getting better. And he's 9 games in. The other guys, they're trending up. Vernon is either flatlined or going down, and he got benched today. So all those other excuses we've given Vernon for, he had a season injured and he had another half season and whatever. Those excuses are done at this point. He should be getting better. He should be trending up, and he's not. So I'm out.
Yeah,
on Vernon.
I mean, I don't disagree. Like, it's bad, man. That you got a guy that was the first round pick, and what reminds me of Vernon is like the Giants and how quickly they got out on Eli Apple, and they picked Eli Apple, they traded up to get Eli Apple before Vernon, and and it's like the Giants like, oh nope, he's not it. We getting rid of him. And of course, we gonna stick with Vernon. And like I say, man, it's more of an emotional tie to him. Like I really like the kid. He wanted to come to Tampa, so I'm like, hey, give him a chance. But like, man, like you've been reduced to a slot corner, and like now you're getting bench. This is like, it's like how Ren feel about how I come about Jameis. Like you just don't have any more ammo. Like it's nothing you can say about him. Like, okay, Brandon Hargreaves is garbage. Right, you're right. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, he did miss a season and a half a season due to injury and all this, but he's not stacking up. And it's like, okay, you got to go. But moving on, like, I want to make this short and quick. I don't want to run on. I don't want Ren to pull out the cooking book on me this time. I was looking at the video from last time. So, Jameis Dean. I did like Jameis Dean redemption. He did get burnt the last game horribly, but that was his coming out game. That was the first game he ever played. And rookie against rookie. Obviously, that's why DK Metcalf was a sort of an athlete of the times. But DK, with Jameis Dean, man, I like him. I think his arrow is pointing up. He made a good play, a good, kind of game-saving interception, because I feel like if we didn't get that turnover, I think they would have scored, and I don't think the outlook of us coming back and scoring the game would have been so bright. So I think Jameis Dean, his arrow is pointing up. Shaq Barrett, I feel like Shaq Barrett is someone we have to re-sign. I think we should have been re-signed him. I don't know what we're waiting on, because we wait to the end of the season, his price tag is going to be very high, and I don't know if we will want to pay that. But other than that, man, I think it was a good game. Of course, it's against the Cardinals, so I don't think the expectation was too high. I saw a tweet about how empty the stadium was. Man, it's very scary, man.
Now, look, Brian,
a lot of people is kind of out. But
yeah, no, Brian, here's the deal. Here's the deal about that. Look, Tampa Bay as a community is ready to get behind this team. Tampa Bay is ready to get behind anybody. Look, the Rays, nobody goes to a Rays game during the season. They hit the playoffs, they pack out the Trop, right? You go down to Amalie Arena and you look, the Lightning, they're doing well. Tampa Bay will show up when the team gives them a reason to show up, right? So I'm not worried about the stadium getting packed out. It's just the Bucs got to show up and play. They put together, now look, they put together a good win today. And next week's a division game. We're going to have more people in that stadium next week. All right. They put together another win or two before we come back against, is it the Colts? I think we're at home against next after the Saints. People will show up as long as the Bucs give them a reason. And the thing is, Tampa people don't need a lot of reasons to show up. They'll start coming out. So, I'm not so worried about that. It just, it's just going to be a matter of the Bucs giving people a reason to show up, So, but hey, Brian, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, man. We're going to clear out this line here and maybe let somebody else give a call. All right.
All right, man. Go Bucs.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Talk to you later. Go Bucs.
Thanks, Brian.
So, with that, actually, Ren, I'm looking over here at the clock, and I think that's going to be our time for tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the phone line for tonight. Sorry to anybody who didn't get to call in. But if you didn't get to call in tonight and you wanted to, or maybe you're listening to this on the podcast feed, hello to everybody in the future. You can send us an email to theputercast@gmail.com. We will read that this week on our upcoming fan interaction show. I did want to say one thing before we get out of here, Ren. Kind of a rant I went off on Twitter, and this is where I am now. And I'm going to talk about Jameis. Brian didn't talk about him, but I do want to talk about Jameis, and I'll get your take on this. I think you and I actually might be in pretty good alignment on this. I could be wrong though. There were people behind us, like one, maybe two rows right behind us, and I heard this on their over their conversation. If we just had an average quarterback, our record would be a lot better. And I've seen that on Twitter at least 3 times today. I see it all over the social media site that we won't mention, Ren, that you don't like. But this is a narrative that we continue to see, and it continues to pop up. Now, I have gone on record. I have gone public with my thoughts and my feelings on Jameis Winston. I'm not on the train. Ren, I think you put it like I'm on the platform with my ticket in hand. I just haven't quite jumped on. This is not me jumping on, but this is me not bagging on somebody who doesn't need to be bagged on. The offense isn't the problem with this team. The defense has been this problem with this team, and it has been for a long time. And when people want to start talking about all the different reasons why Jameis has an issue, the interceptions, people start talking about his pass completion, his QBR, his even the good stuff, the yards per game, the whatever. Look, guys, at the end of the day, the only stat that matters is your win-loss record. How do you win and lose games? Points. That's the only thing that matters is points. Jameis, and we saw it today. Jameis threw how many interceptions today, Ren?
2.
He threw 2. We still put up 30 points, right? Jameis can throw all these interceptions he wants if he continues to put up points. And here's the deal. Jameis has thrown how many points over the course of the season? 14 or interceptions? 14. And he's lost at least 1, maybe 2 fumbles or something like that. And guess what? We are still the 4th highest scoring offense in the league. Compare that to a defense that is 31st in the league at giving up points. That is the problem. And for all the other little things, Jameis, there's lots of criticism to go around about Jameis, and a lot of it is fair, right? And there's things that need to get cleaned up, things that need to get fixed. But at the end of the day, you cannot look at me and tell me that a team that is scoring so many points week in and week out, and we even scored 30 today. Arizona's 27. When I checked, when I stopped for gas on the way home, because I don't do stuff while I'm driving, that would just be dangerous and stupid. When I checked, Arizona's 27 points at probably about 6:00 while the second games were going on would have been enough to beat 4 teams that won in the NFL this week. Right? So like the defense, like let them score enough points to win, what would have actually been in other games. The problem is not the offense. If you think that we need that Jameis needs to improve, he needs to get his touchdown interception ratio better. If you think all these things, you're probably right. I'm not going to argue with you on that. What I will argue with you is on this idea that if we just had an average quarterback, if we just had a quarterback that stopped turning the ball over, if we just had a quarterback ... I'm going to stop you there, because that quarterback, in spite of all of that, still has this offense in a spot where they're the 4th in the league. And it's the defense that is giving up so many points. Now, hopefully that trend is in the right direction. I also looked at this, Ren, and I didn't know this. Did you know this? The point differential for the games that we have lost this year has been basically 1 touchdown. It's like 7.1 points if you average out the point differential in the games we've lost this year. And so the defense is keeping us in it. This is a better defense. No. Huh?
No, they're not. No.
Yes.
Jameis is keeping us in games, not the defense.
No, but the defense is still not letting whatever. Okay. This is a better defense than what we saw under Mike Smith. You don't think so?
It's halfway better.
So that's still better. Halfway better is still better.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Things are trending, and you just said, hey, listen, we like where Sean Murphy Bunting is over the course of the season. We like where he's been over 2 games.
I do.
You like where Carlton Davis, you want to see what's happening there. Things are trending in the right direction. This coaching staff has us getting there. My point being, if you want to fix Jameis, you don't like Jameis, okay, fine, whatever. We can have that conversation. Just changing the quarterback is not going to be the thing that fixes this team. That's my rant. Ren, thank you for letting me talk. I'll
sure. No, that's all right. I totally forgot what I was going to say. I don't remember. I don't remember. here's my thing with Jameis, and I'll make it really quick.
Mhm.
The defense is kind of like the same it was last year as far
Mhm.
as the outcome from every game. People are passing all over them. They're giving up a lot of points. Um, you know, not quite getting enough pressure. We don't get enough pressure, and you leave these guys on an island. What do you expect? Well, I expect them to make plays.
Mhm.
If you only rush 4 and you go into zone, like you can't cover a crossing route, like what do you expect? Like, well, I expect them to play better.
Mhm.
The only difference between last year and this year is that Jameis is now good enough to keep us in these games.
Mhm.
That's why they're one-score games, because of him like constantly pushing the ball down the field, or having to score almost every time he gets the ball, because if he doesn't, he walks off the field. Next time he comes out, they're down like 7 more points. It's
Mhm.
not quite that drastic this year as it was last year,
Right.
but Jameis is the one keeping us in this. So look at this game, okay?
Mhm.
Uh, we're cruising. Something happens. Maybe the interception or whatever. I don't know. Uh, Cardinals go down, score, take the lead, right?
Mhm.
Less than 2 minutes, Jameis gets the ball, drives down 80 yards, scores right before halftime.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Right.
Yep. Jamal Dean gets an interception on the 8-yard line, 92 yards away, down by 3.
Mhm.
Jameis drives the team down the field and scores. This was a clunky game. This
Mhm.
wasn't Jameis's best game. Wasn't Mike Evans' best game. It wasn't Chris Godwin's best game. It wasn't
Mhm.
the offensive line's best game. Not Rojo's. Maybe Peyton Barber's. Not Rojo's. Like not Brait's. Not
Uh-huh.
not Perryman's. Like no one's best game. It was a clunky game. They kept getting their own way with stupid penalties, holding penalties. Not offsides, but false starts, and Jameis kept fighting, and he kept fighting, and he kept fighting, and he kept fighting, and when the 2 times that it cost the most, or was shouldn't say it was the most important, drove him down under 2 minutes and scored down on the 8-yard line. Hey, you need a touchdown to win the game, and he went and did it. And that's the difference between this year and next, where these sort of situations that he's in now, he can actually do it. And I think he's playing his best football. I really do. I understand the 49ers game, and I understand the Carolina game. But far as decision making and tight window throws and deep balls, and having to extend plays. Now, remember when I used to complain that he doesn't run the ball, like BA told him not to run anymore?
Mhm.
Now he runs the ball, and he kept drives alive. Like he picked up a third. It was like 3rd and 18,
Mhm.
and he picked it up and he ran it in. Are we still taking phone calls?
Well, we got one guy who begged for me in the chat room. He slipped me a 20, so I turned it back on. We're gonna take his call. Is this Craig in Vegas?
Couldn't you wait until I was done
What's
talking?
up, brothers? How you doing?
What's up, Craig?
I feel interrupted, Craig. How are you?
I'm sorry. What chapter are you reading right now?
Chapter 4. This is they introduced the evil girlfriend at this point.
So, hey, so by the way, real quick from the stadium issue, listen, I agree with what you said, Brent.
Mhm.
Winning will cure all.
Sure.
If this team wins, this town is dying
Mhm.
to support them. I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
I mean, just the example is the 5-game win streak from just a couple years ago.
Mhm.
The place was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, when they got flexed to Sunday Night Football, everybody was all into it, and that was a 9-7 season. This one fan base wants so bad to win, it hurts, and then you can hear it in people's voices when they call and what they tweet and whatever. And people are getting on each other. Just want to win. That's all we're asking for. If it's 12-11 every week, at least we're winning. But it stinks being still 3-6, in early November as well too. But that's my thing about the stadium. The only thing let me ask you this, Brent,
Mhm.
someone who sits on the east side of the stadium, had they made that stadium a dome stadium, do you think they might get some more people there?
Yes.
Probably. I mean, that side of the stadium is just horrible. The east side that just faces that afternoon sun. I mean, it's night and day difference sitting on the west side this year for us. I mean, Ren, this was your first game there with me.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a whole different game experience. It's far more tolerable, especially there. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. There's certainly a lot of people. I'd imagine the people. I mean, because everyone in the 300 section, they're all exposed no matter what. So yeah, I would imagine it probably would help some that there are some people willing to stay out. But at the same time, if you put a winning product on the field, consistently winning product, I still think they're selling. They're selling. They may not sell out every single game, but they might. You know, they might. I remember when I first became a Bucs fan, they said there's a 10-year waiting list for Buccaneer season tickets. 10-year waiting list. You know, so it might.
It's down to 10 seconds now.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. How long does it take you to click through Ticketmaster? You're in. Good job.
Yeah, can you grab the credit card out of your wallet now or later?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So my 2 cents of the game. Listen, and I agree with your rant as well too. You have to give me a better alternative, Jameis. And then listen, I know Jameis you're going to have the bugaboos with him. I get it as well too. But that offense, I agree, it's good enough where if you had a defense that was 15, 16, 18, that wasn't giving up, I think it's now at the last 5 seconds, 31.5 right now. You know, this team could be in a better situation right now. Yes, you're going to have to live with the interceptions, but I almost compare him now to I know he's in the back end of his career, but he reminds me a lot of Rivers right now, where you get some bad throws and then you get some unbelievable throws as well too. That out route to Godwin late in the game, I mean, that was a seed right through Peterson, right to where it has to be. And you see so much good, but like I said, he's a baseball player as well too. It's like a pitcher. Sometimes they're on or sometimes there's a tad off and you got to live with what you got as well too. But unless you're getting Burrow, right now, which they're not, no chance for it, I franchise him or give him a 2-year bridge deal as well too. But also at the same time, does Jameis really want to be here as well too? And that's the other side is like maybe, he wants to go somewhere he has a better chance to win as well too. I mean, maybe this team has just burned him out as well too. And my other thing too right now, and the Glazers have to say to this team, to the staff, you asked for all these coaches and you threw a challenge flag when you were out of challenges. Like either BA is in that Bucs, we stink vortex right now, or there's maybe too many cooks in the kitchen right now with too many coaches as well and too many voices in his ear. Because I thought that was just you can't make that mistake late in the game in the fourth quarter. I know it's emotional as well too to throw the flag there to challenge when Murray's knee was down. The refs were awful today as well too, but you can't ruin a timeout as well too, because that could have cost them the game had not Jamel Dean made that great play.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that, but I thought about, like, I watched it and I saw it happen and he threw it and I'm like, he doesn't have any more challenges. Like, that's going to cost him a timeout. And this isn't the only time something like that's happened. Double timeouts in Carolina. He cost a timeout to us last week with another dumb and also his decision where he's throwing it. It's like he's throwing it because he just doesn't think it's fair. Like, you were not going to win that Sean Murphy bunting pass interference call. Just like you weren't going to win whatever call he called last week, or maybe it was the one, and then the one in Tennessee, and then you're just not going to win those calls, and you're just blowing timeouts, and all these games are close. And that, like, last week's game, we could have used that timeout in Seattle. We had the ball, we were trying to use the middle of the field. Yeah, Perriman run the round route and game over. But we were using the middle of the field. It would have been nice to be able to, like, the guy just, do a dig route and sit down and catch it, fall down and call a timeout. Like, we could have used it. But, what his response was to when the refs told me he couldn't throw a challenge flag because he already used it, because I was there. He took the flag, like, threw his hands up in the air, turned around and, like, fired it, like, into the bench, like, kind of threw it towards the garbage can and stormed off. Like, okay, we heard about this when BA got here. Like, you're going to love him. He's a quote machine. He's fun with the media, blah, blah, blah. But these are plain and simple. They're stupid. They are stupid bordering on unexcusable play clock game management decisions that, aren't helping the team. They're hurting the team. And, I don't care if it's, Uncle BA or not. It's garbage and it's got to stop.
Do you think he's never let go of that Titans, that fumble? And he talked about it in his press conference after the game. He talked about it the day after. I think he is just on a rant with these refs right now, and I think that's almost clouding his judgment right now as well too. He's so emotional because he got burned. They got burned in New Orleans. Like New Orleans, luckily they got the interception back on that tip play, but it really cost them a chance to win the game, or at least have at the end of that Titans game. And I don't think he's let that play go since. And I think that's one of the ones where he's got to say, hey, listen, he has to be under control more than anybody. I know he wants to be emotional and fire as well too, but you're going to cost your team more games if you're going down that road the way you're going right now, with not understanding the game situations from his perspective right now.
Yeah, Craig, they asked him in the press conference afterwards and said, hey, do you even know what a passing interference call is anymore? And he said, no, I don't. So I guess I'm just going to keep throwing the flags and see what happens. Like, I mean, it's not that he doesn't know what a passing interference call is. It's just, he throws them when he thinks that it's there or not there.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, right.
They're not gonna turn it over.
That's
they're
right.
not gonna flip it. They're not.
That's right. And effectively what that means is that the league went in, the owners went in, the coaches went in, they all voted for this rule change, and the officials have basically said, yeah, we're not going to do that. It'll waste your timeouts, sure, but we're really not going to do this thing that you guys wanted us to do, probably for a good reason, but it's the rule right now. So
did you read? I read this.
That rule saved them today because they got him the ball at the goal line at the one with that under 2-minute review upstairs PI as well.
Look, I'm okay with that. I mean, if they want to initiate those calls from the booth, but I mean, still, you're going to get in the spot, like, because you really can't just you can't go, oh, the refs missed a call, I'm going to throw a flag. Like, you can't do that. God, that'll make the games horrible, So I don't know what the answer is here, but what I know is that they're not doing this rule the way that it is intended to. And I think the way that they've intended to is actually going to hurt the game if they don't change it here in this next offseason. Ren, what were you getting ready to say?
Yeah, this, I haven't seen enough of sort of the last play of the game, but I did see that Jamal Dean had his hand around the guy's waist, and it looks like he hit him early. Okay. But last play of the game, sort of a Hail Mary pass, they let those things go. This is what I read, that why they didn't review it in New York. New York looked at it, said it was pass interference, knew they were going to overturn the call, but the pass interference wasn't egregious enough for them to overturn that type of call at that moment in that game. That means they went, yes, I see it. Yes, you missed the call. Yes, if we review it, we will overturn it, so we're not going to review it. What the F is that?
Well, because that means they would effectively change the game, right?
Well, it's also too. Then they say that on those 50-50 balls type of, Hail Mary types where it's a desperation throw, they said they're going to be more lenient on those type of plays.
Right.
I think that was early in the year as well too. But you know what? As a Bucs fan, didn't you think, Ren, at some point you're like, they're going to call down and call it PI. They're going to call down, like, they're going to be shaking hands, and they're like, whoa, no. They're going to line up for the field goal, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to overtime again. I mean, that's just, as a Bucs fan, you were waiting. I was like, hopefully they just cut the feed because maybe they're not going to go to review. But I thought for sure they were going to review that. And I'm like, oh no,
cut the line in New York now.
TJ Reed trips over the cord.
Yeah. Cut the line from New York. Like, no one answered that phone.
Yeah.
I didn't, because like you said, they sort of more lenient on this last play of the game, desperation type of thing. And I'll be honest, I thought Hargraves did everything right on his PI call for the first, when they were going for it on for fourth down. Like, he's allowed to his space. It's not his fault that it was a bad pass. He got into his spot when he jumped. he turned around and looked for the ball, and then when the ball came, he made a play on it. He just happened to be bumping into the other guy. If the ball wasn't behind VH3, it was a bad throw. Like, the reason that was DPI was even called is because it was a bad throw.
Right.
Like, Vernon's allowed to
wait
for his space in the
He got
field.
a PI on the fake punt, and they still completed the play as well too. So our secondary is not just bad on defense; they're bad on special teams as well too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was unbelievable. No one could turn and find the ball.
Yeah, I don't know what to talk about the fake punt.
All right, Craig, man, you got anything else for us before I let you go here, buddy?
Thanks, guys.
All right, man.
Hey, I always love the show, and it's nice to see a lot more people calling in as well too. Some new callers. So, hey, great work by you guys.
Thanks so much, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
All right, and that is officially going to close the show.
Anybody got a 20?
Yeah. That's all it takes. $20. $20.
Wrap up the thing for $20. So that was my rant on Jameis Winston. Was like, it I feel like all this stuff that he's doing, and really what a great season he's having, because, there are no more of this. We're down by 19 scores, and he's throwing the ball from halfway through the second quarter to the fourth quarter and chucking around the yard 50 times. And, look, he got 380 yards. Well, whoop-de-doo, you were down 28 points for most of the game.
Right.
Because they're not. Like, they've been leading a lot of these games.
Right.
And so it has been just like any other NFL game. And I just feel like he's not getting the credit. And I understand, because I said it, the San Francisco game. For the Bucs fans' psyche, that was the worst way to lose the game.
Sure.
Throwing a pick six, down by six. Okay, Jameis, here it is. New offense. Brie's going to fix you. Your, touchdown wins the game. 2-minute offense. Go. First pass, pick six, game over. Like, that was the worst. And then he slowly started to build confidence. Everyone's like, okay. London happens.
London game. Right.
London happens.
Right.
And then now he's starting. I just think that the things that he's improving at are being overlooked, like that pass to Godwin on 3rd and 8, like driving the team down in less than 2 minutes to get a touchdown before a halftime to take the lead, like going 92 yards with the game on the line to put the ball in the end zone to take the lead. Like, the first thing I thought when Barber went in there was, we left too much time on the clock. It's like you scored too soon. But hey, it was nice to see VFA like bowl over like 9 people.
Yeah, hey, VFA getting in on offense today. That'll be fun. But hey, listen, Ren, there's a few things we didn't get to tonight, but that's okay, because we are coming back later on this week with our final thought show. We'll get to everything we didn't catch, and then who knows, even some maybe some things we did on a further review kind of deal. We also got a brand new guest who's going to be joining us this week, so you guys make sure you be on the lookout for that. And as mentioned earlier, guys, if you didn't get to call in tonight, maybe you wanted to, maybe you're listening to this on the podcast feed, send us in an email to thepewtercast@gmail.com, and we'll take your email. We'll read that for our fan interaction show coming up later this week. And then we'll be back with Bucket the News as the week close out, and we'll do this all over again next Sunday night as we square off against the Saints, and we start looking towards that game. So, Ren, buddy, it's time to get out of here. Why don't you tell the folks where they can get in touch with you over the course of the week?
Best place to find me is on Twitter, at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football.
If you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And you can find the show at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook. And like I said, you can email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who joined us tonight at YouTube. Thanks to everybody who put up with a few technical difficulties at the beginning of the show.
We had a rough start. It took us a while to sort of find our stride.
Packed chat room tonight, though. Hey, listen, a win equates to people wanting to come on the show and talk to us. So
that's what happens.
Lots of people. So currently right now, for those of you who are not watching this show, Ren has his fingers in a salute manner, and he has for the last minute and a half. So I'm going to see if I can't drag this out as long as I can just to let him stay in that position a little bit longer. Okay, maybe not. This will be the end of the show. Guys, we'll close it out. Thanks to everybody. We'll talk to you guys later this week. Go Bucs.